He last fought on the undercard of Cotto versus Canelo against Drian Francisco in what was a fight where fans didn't really enjoy. And now he's in a stay busy fight that really actually means nothing against a fighter by the name of James Jazza Dickens, 21-1 with 6 KOs. Some T Street Controversy. This is T Street Controversy Live. It's going to be on the undercard of the WBO 135-pound title match between Terry Flanagan and Derry Matthews. Here's the thing. You have fighters who will say that you won't find any fighters in 122 or 126 that will say that they won't fight Rigondeaux. What they'll say is, oh yeah, I'll gladly fight Rigondeaux. But when it comes to them negotiating their next fights, Rigondeaux doesn't even come into discussion. Now, he was having some promotional issues and some managerial issues. Now that's all over. So now, as you can see, he's free to fighting 2 fights in 4 months. So what I want to see now from the 35-year-old, what is he, 16-0 with 10 KOs or 12? I think he only got 10 KOs. But what I want to see now from Rigondeaux is I want to see him not only remain active because Jazza Dickens is not ranked. You know, I'm hearing he's a very well-loved fighter over there in Liverpool where he's from. By the way, this fight's not going to be televised in the United States. It's going to be on Boxnation, but I'm going to be watching it. I'm going to be watching it, but as far as American television, it's not televised. As I was saying about Jazza Dickens, he's loved where he's from. He's looking at it as being a Rocky story. As far as being able to watch fights of his, there's only about one fight of his that you're able to watch on YouTube, and that's on Seconds Out channel. But IFL has a whole bunch of interviews from him. But really, from what I can gather from him, he's a pressure fighter, and he doesn't have the boxing ability to beat a Rigondeaux. Even though he's the British champ, even though he's on like a 6-fight or 5-fight winning streak since losing to Kid Galahad. So, you know, for Rigondeaux, this is just a stay busy fight, a fight to show that he can fight overseas, that there's nothing stopping him from coming over to fight a Scott Quigg or a Carl Frampton, you know, the winner of that. Now, what the WBA has said is, since Guillermo Rigondeaux was stripped, but the WBA tried to put a light spin on it to say that, well, even though we're stripping him, the winner of Scott Quigg versus Carl Frampton's got to fight Rigondeaux next, you know, for the WBA portion of the title. Now, when it comes to Rigondeaux, he's ranked in all the sanctioning bodies. He can fight for a title. And now that he's remaining active, you know, it's good to see, you know, him back in the title hunt again. Because remember, he was stripped of his WBO because he didn't defend it against a WBO ranked fighter. He was stripped of the WBA because, I mean, truthfully, I don't even know why the WBA stripped him. But technically, they're saying he's still, even though he's stripped, he's still the #1 contender for the title. So now we're in a situation where, okay, he's fighting on this undercard against, you might as well say, an unknown fighter. Who is he going to fight next? Now, when you look at the 122-pound division, you know, of course he can fight Nolito Donaire again, but what's the point? He's just going to take Donaire's belt. You know, he can't fight Leo Santa Cruz. Leo Santa Cruz moved up. You know, I want to see, truth be told, I think that it's perfectly logical for him to fight the winner of Scott Quigg versus Carl Frampton, because then the guy who wins that fight will be the '1 guy in the division. So, you know, it is what it is. You know, I'm thinking, see, I don't know if Eddie Hearn will match Scott Quigg against a Rigondeaux. I'm not quite sure. I guess it all depends on how he looks against Carl Frampton. I don't know if Carl Frampton... Okay, put it this way. I think there's a better chance to see Rigondeaux versus Frampton than Rigondeaux versus Scott Quigg. But at this point in time, I'm thinking that this fight with Jazza Dickens is showing that Rigondeaux will travel to the UK to fight anybody. So they can't say, well, you know, if Rigondeaux wants to fight, he's got to come to the UK. And they really can't say now that it's not going to be no money in the fight because Rigondeaux now has Rock Nation's backing. So it's going to be interesting to see. But March the 12th, the same day as Thurman versus Porter, Rigondeaux versus Jazza Dickens. It's going to be, I guess, a boxing showcase for Rigondeaux. Also, you got Derry Matthews, Tommy Flanagan. Abner Maris is returning. A couple other fights that day. T Street Controversy. This is T Street Controversy Live.